the tú? Tá tú ceáil se an orta brí?
Tá,
Mai
agus
hiú?
bit thosa lecht féchan ag tuairt cóla dú.
Agus an áir íchar dóinn se an orta go
Ihe
Seán
galanta.
Keane in seogan agus tanóra gáanta tan scafte mór se se agus tan se go fáil. Hello, is me sé Áine ní chorann agus táma a teartthegah an seo ó airplangídór le se le Áine agus an seo am chuideachta sa trónóniu tá ínta speisialta agus sinna Seán Keane. Seán, chuil mór ród go airplangídór
Got a meal market?
agus tróna gáanta go seo?
Oh, yes.
Bhí Seán ceadúir Seán tún seo an san airplan an ceadúir bhí tún an luche
Gunduhe and the Balor and
Letterkenny, I suppose.
and South
Yeah. Well, you're very welcome, Sean.
Got a meal market.
I guess tattoo a cartoonist at the concourse now that you're starting off your tour.
Oh.
So we're very happy to have you here in the airplane for your tour. Sean, during COVID and all these months and in fact years now of closed down?
Well, it was very strange, the same as it was for the rest of the world. But I suppose I live in the countryside, like we have around here in Guidor, so social isolation where I live was not a problem. Meeting people is a problem. But yeah, I kept going. I had a Facebook concert going from the old home estate at home where my father was born. It's an old thatched cottage, and it was there that I learned a lot of the music. A lot of people would have come to visit my aunts Rita and Sarah. And there we restored it a couple of years ago, just before COVID. And I decided that I'd do concerts from there on a Sunday evening, which worked out really nice.
Right.
Time has reeled me in. How you lost today, as the wages were then. Those old ways of mine, I've left them behind. Those crazy days are through. The only thing I still do, like I used to do, is happiness all for you.
And so isolation as well, you were able to go out for walks and you were able to do all things like us around here. I walk the beach every day and it's absolutely great. What about your CD? You have a new CD out, Sean?
Well, I have a CD that I recorded maybe 4 years ago now with the RT Concert Orchestra called Gratitude. And that's the latest recording I have. But what I have done is I've released a few singles since then. And I have been in the recording studio in the last month or so I'm putting down a few more songs.
Right.
Now we've got busy with the concerts, so now I can't get time to go into the studio. But it's great, it's lovely, I enjoyed the touring and the studio.
You have a unique voice, Sean, you know, it's like the Shannos as Gaelic, you know, it's got that sort of tone to it, and I don't think there's anybody else that we could compare you with, because you have your own voice and your own sort of type of singing, you know, that must be, you must be very happy with that, and Aunt Rita and Sarah would be very happy, I'm sure, for you.
It would, and I suppose listening to them and listening to their friends who would have come to the house and exchanged the songs and the tunes with them, I would have listened to them as a child. I sang in my first flat Yule when I was 7, and I became very interested in learning songs and listening to people and watching how they sang and did things. And I suppose an accumulation of that and life and everything else that I have the style I have. And as for the sound, well, that's a God-given thing. I had nothing to do with it whatsoever. It's just the shape of whatever is in there, it works and sounds like that. But all I can do is pick the material that I like to sing and to play. And yeah, here we go.
spent his youth among the stones, the ocean tumbled in his bones. His heart was tempered by his throne, the man from Carmarthen. He always stood out from the crowd, his noble horse so strong and proud. He liked to speak his thoughts out loud, the man from Carmarthen.
Yeah. What about your sister Dolores? You started off with her when you were very young.
I did indeed. I joined a band with her when I was 17, a band called Reunion. And yes, I actually, as a family, we've been playing and singing songs together since we were kids. Like, so, yeah, she actually taught me my first song as well.
Yeah,
So,
that is great. You did a very good job, Dolores. You did a really good job. And of course, like a lot of young men at the time, you know, you went to England or Scotland to work in the buildings. And I'm sure that's where you met a lot of Irish people, especially we all had uncles like that went over to Scotland and, you know, never came back. And, you know, like lonely old men, I'm sure that had a great effect on you, did it, when you were sort of
well, it
singing
did.
and...
It did, because when I went to London, I would, as you say, like a lot of other Irish people, I was working on the building sites. And I enjoyed the few years I was there. I really did enjoy it. And at that time, 1979 is when I first went over, and there was a lot of Irish people and especially musicians over there. And the Sense of Ireland happened. It was a major festival that happened in London, and there was all the other musicians that weren't already living in London. They all came over to participate in the festival. So there was sessions 7 nights a week, and you could be out 7 nights a week, working 7 days a week. So we didn't have much time for sleeping.
No. When you're young, you can get away
Absolutely,
with that. Yes,
absolutely. Not now.
No, not now. And of course, you travelled quite a lot as well. You know, you went to America and you went to different places.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy travelling?
I do. I love travelling.
Yeah.
One of the things that made me learn my first songs for the Flacyols was I went to Tuam to sing in my first county Flacyol, to Mount Bellew to sing at the Connacht Flacyol, and then I was brought to Dublin for the All Ireland, and I was just 7 years of age. Yeah. And I was the only young fella in the class.
First time in Dublin, wasn't it?
First time in Dublin. And I thought, if learning a few songs is going to bring me to those different places, I learned them up, and I loved learning them for that purpose, that I would get to travel and to see other places, and I'm at it ever since.
It's absolutely brilliant. I know you stopped travelling and you stopped your music for a while after the untimely death of Virginia, which, you know, death and cancer comes to us all, unfortunately. But you picked up again and you're busier than ever now. Once COVID, of course, we all had to sit down, but now you have a big sort of plan. You're going to Austria, you're going to places in Ireland, so tell me where you're going.
Yeah, well, we're up and down the country here in Ireland, and on the 20th of April we go to Austria. And Austria I've been touring for the past 25 years. And I love touring there, I have to say. It's one
they must love you too.
Well, they must do. They haven't thrown me out yet anyway, denied me entrance to the country. Yes, it's amazing how the traditional music, or the kind of style of music that I do, can cross borders and lines and language barriers and so on. So yeah, I have a great time in Austria, and later on then in November I go back to my annual tour in Germany. And wherever there's gigs going, I'll be back. And
there's a big family of you, and only you and Dolores are the only two professional singers, even though they all sing. You know, I'm sure they're all great singers, but you're the only two who went with music as a
I suppose I was led into music. I was kind of pushed into music by a force stronger than me, because I enjoy working with my hands, and I like to look back and get satisfaction from work I've done. And I like working with wood and steel and everything, and that's what I've been doing all my life, because I grew up in a family that did that work as well. I had a workshop to my disposal for when I was knee-high to a duck, as they say. So I loved that work. But when I go at that, music, it would always kind of bring me back. I wouldn't have enough time to do the day job and the night job. So here I am. I give in. I'm doing music for the rest of my life, and that's it.
Well, that's absolutely great. I know now you're going to be playing here tonight, and you probably need to do a sound check. But have you a favourite song of yours? Have you one that you just absolutely love?
Well, I have a number of them, but I think probably I have a song that I recorded called Never Alone, and it's a song that I learned in Nashville from, actually it was Colin Kerwin from down in Oma that sang it there in Nashville one night, and it was a song written by a band called Lady Antebellum. And there's also an immigration song about Annie Moore, the first person to go through Ellis Island, written by Brendan Graham. That's another song that kind of I like to sing, and it resonates with people. Well, he's a gifted songwriter, and I was lucky enough that he sent me the song to record. So it's a song called I Have Hope, I Have Tears.
I have hope, I have tears, I have freedom, I have fears, but it's not the I in left behind. And I have hunger, I have pain, I will never see again. But the eye of hope is always on your mind.
Well, Sean, we're so happy that you're starting your tour here in Ardcloney. Wish you all the very best. Hope you'll be back soon. And there's a crowd of people coming tonight. They're coming from all over, you know. As far as I know, they're from outside Bidor and outside Donegal. So we're looking forward to you tonight. And thank you so much for talking
Got to meet him,
Got to meet him, La could you Jacob make the rationation go.
Well, with the help of God.
Agus sinné seanna haine be mit rationation chartan se hagan, Nelson cinna Jamaic na go killish be mit a cant a baimid rash.
I may ever be of your heart.